Hello and welcome to my insanity. So 2 weeks ago was my sister's birthday and she decided to have this extravagant Harry Potter themed birthday party. So of course, I had to make her costume. I had to make her outfit. I had to make her look like a beautiful Fawkes the Phoenix, and she had way too much hope and faith in my skills considering I've never made a dress. So let's go! I thought that I should sketch out actually exactly what I am going to sew. That way I have some sort of motivation and like a vision for everything that I'm doing. I'm gonna keep it up on my chalkboard so that like everyone can see it throughout the video and I can see it throughout the video so that like we all know what page we are on. So that's what I'm going for. There's not much detail on it, but like there'll be more in the dress. Okay, so I have baking paper, a pencil, and I have this white fabric that cost me like maybe $2 a meter, so that way I can use the baking paper to trace a pattern from the bodice itself, because I'm going to start with the bodice because that's, I feel as though the most important, because if you mess up the top part of it, it's just going to look like you're wearing a sack. All I'm going to do is just trace out the pattern of the top that I want to use. And then once that's done, I'm just going to pin it to the fabric and then I'm just going to cut out a piece, and I'm going to do that for every single section of the bodice and then double check that I've made the pattern correctly. If I haven't, I still have loads of baking paper and I still have loads of fabric, so really I can mess up as many times as I want. And why am I doing this? Because I've never made a dress. I'm not qualified and I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so, ow, pins. Alright, so this is what the shape of the bodice looks like. I have pinned it to my sister without stabbing her and like stabbing myself, and it fits her quite well so far, but I think I might adjust the back piece so I can put a zipper in the back of it later. But either way, now that I have my pattern and it works out well, what I'm going to do is unpin it and just cut out several different sections that I've made on here so that I can make a really thick bodice. So it's just got a lot of support for all of the curves that apparently skipped my genetic input. So after like a few minutes, I have managed to get 5 layers of each section, and my next step is to sew each of the sections together so that I've got like one just like really thick panel. And once I've sewn each of them together, I'm gonna pin them and make sure that they fit my sister. I've got this reinforced panel that's not gonna come apart, so that means that it's gonna be a lot easier for me to like play with it, if that makes sense. So now I just got to do it with all the other panels. I have all of my bodice pieces together, so they're all nice and firm and thick and durable, which is great, and that means that I can start cutting into the fabric that I chose. It's this like metallic red thing with like some graininess to it, which kind of looks like fire, which I feel as though for a phoenix is very appropriate. I have so much fabric. All I'm gonna do is just place my pieces of white material onto my pieces of red material and cut them round and pretty much just stitch them to each other as well, the same way that I stitched all these 5 pieces together. Now that I've cut the red fabric out, as you can see, we just have a panel like that, and it's like that on the back. So all I'm gonna do is just stitch like really close together the piece so that when like I take the pins out, it's not gonna move. So it's like it's just one piece of fabric, which like maybe I'm taking too much caution and like have too many ideas that are incorrect when it comes to this. That would not surprise me because I don't know what I'm doing. And if you're wondering what I just said then in my little pterodactyl voice, it was I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, it's a new day. I'm not wearing makeup, so I still look like a gremlin. Don't judge. No, I'll judge. I don't really care. Now that I have all my pieces cut out, I decided to pin them together using my sister as a model. She's a little bit camera shy, so that's why I didn't do it on camera. So all I did was I turned it inside out and put it to her body and then pinned it along the places where I want it to be pinned. So that way it's actually going to match her body because I'm using her as a model, if that makes sense, which it probably doesn't because I don't know what I'm doing. So now that I've done that, I'm just gonna stitch it all up. Oh, where's my coffee? Oh no, traffic, where did I put my coffee? I need coffee. No, where did I put my coffee? Oh god, it might be somewhere and it might be spilled. Traffic, locate the coffee. Oh no. Christ, it's averted. Now that I've sewn the bodice together, no pins, no stabbinesses, which means that my fingers are gonna very very much thank me. Now that I've got this section done, what I want to do is I want to make like an underskirt that I can stitch all the tulle to. So I'm gonna have to do this off camera because once again my sister's a little bit camera shy. So I've got this red satin that is the same color as the red fabric that's going on top. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it around my sister and try and pin it so that it looks right. And then once it looks right and I know that she can sit down in it, because that's gonna be the real difficulty. If she can't sit down, then like I failed as a seamstress and a sister. So I'm gonna do that, and then once I'm happy with like the outline of it and she's comfortable in it, I'm gonna sew it together. And then once I've done that, I'm gonna start working on the tulle section of the skirt, which I think is gonna be the most time consuming, in all honesty. I'm back. So I have a hemmed skirt now. So the bottom of it is nice and flush. The top of it still looks like a little bit dodgy, but at the same time, I'm gonna be sewing that to the bodice, so it doesn't really matter. My next step is adding the tulle. So the tulle in this picture is the jagged bits. So what I've got is I have red, I have like this neon orange, because that's the only orange. That doesn't really look orange, does it? I swear it's like fluorescent orange, like roadside workers kind of orange. So I've got orange, and then I've got this like bright neon yellow as well. See, that looks neon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go yellow, then orange. Don't judge my double chin. And then the red on top. And I'm gonna layer them so it kind of looks like the feathers of forks. The reason why I'm using tulle and doing it this way is because the dress that my sister has and I'm using the pattern off is quite a flowy, like almost cupcake-ish like dress, and that's the kind of style that she really likes. She likes anything where like she can feel like a princess. So damn it, if I'm gonna do anything with this dress, I'm gonna make her feel like the most beautiful Phoenix princess in the goddamn world. So let's get started. I'm back. I don't need these two though. But that's last. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this in half because this is way too much tulle to work with. I only need one. There. So I'm gonna start with the bottom layer first because that makes the most sense. So I'm gonna fold this in half. I need the dot. I'm going to stitch it so that like the back part of the dress has where the tulle like gets sewn together, so that the other piece of fabric that I'm going to put on top of it covers it up, because I'm a genius. I'm just going to pin it on, stitch it on, and then once I've done that, I'm going to cut it into triangles. Alright, we're starting to look really clownesque. Like, I've got all the layers on it at the moment, and I've just got to sew up the last layer. I'm getting a bit nervous, but I'm hoping that once like I've stitched it and I put on the outer layer of fabric, it comes together the way that I picture it in my head. I really hope. So now that I have like my cupcake skirt made, because that's the kind of thing that she was wanting, because she wants to look like a princess, I've just grabbed like this manila folder, which is like this creamy cardboard-ish, paper-ish kind of folder, so that I can make myself just a simple little like feather triangle thing. So then I've got this, it's nice and even, which means that I've got like a stencil to cut around when it comes to making the feathers, because I can't do that by eye. I'm not crafty enough for that. If you think that I can, you have too much faith in me. So I'm just gonna start cutting out the feathers, and yeah. I've made it with way too much tulle. Alright, cool. Now that I can see one layer, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this like triangle piece on the bottom, and then just use it as a rough stencil to cut around, and also not cut myself in the process. Alright, so after all the cutting and stuff, this is what I have of the skirt so far. So we're gonna stand on this chair and hope for the best. Oh god. Ah! Alright. So as you can see, once it's going to be like attached to my sister's body, it's going to be nice and puffy, and all the feathers are like alternating and stuff, so I hope that it looks like feathers as much as like it can without it actually being feathers. So now that I have this portion of the skirt, I'm going to put the overlay on top. What do I mean by the overlay, you ask? Well, if we go back to my sketch, this is the tulle, this section here. This is the overlay. So the fabric that I used, oh don't die, there we are. The fabric that I used for the bodice, and I'm gonna use that to wrap it like round, like this. Okay, but like nicer, more fashion. 20 minutes, I've been looking at this dress. I don't know what to do. Okay, so I've had my coffee. I've thought through some stuff. I've processed. And I'm still not sure what I'm doing, but I think I figured out my next point of action. I'm going to sew these bits together and worry about the hemming later. Let's get to the sewing machine. Okay, so I made a complete bodice now. So like it's all the panels stuck together. And I've put it on my sister very difficultly because there's no way for her to get it on with a zip. So I'm gonna cut this back section in half where I want the zip to go. And then I'm gonna put this on her inside out, including the skirt, pin everything together, figure out where I want the skirt to be cut so I can put the zipper in the whole thing. I know there's an easier way to make this. There has to be. But I don't know it. So I'm gonna go do that now and hope that it works out. Pray for this dress. So now that it's all pinned up, I'm gonna turn it the right way out, make sure that where I've pinned it hasn't bunched up any of the fabric in a way that I don't want it to be bunched up. Then I'm just gonna stitch it together, go back over the stitching that I've done previously that I had to cut to get it on my sister. As I said, there's a better way to do this, but I don't know what it is. And then once I've done that, I'm gonna struggle to try and get a zipper on this thing. And once that's done, we're on the home stretch, guys. Almost there. Okay, so far I've done a pretty good job at making this dress like have no visible thread on the outside. So even though there's seams, you can't really see like where I've sewed it, which won't make sense, but it does in my head. So instead of using a sewing machine where I know that I'm just gonna break a needle into the dress because my needles are not thick enough, I'm instead gonna hand stitch the zipper. Okay, so I completely gave up with the hand stitching. So we're just gonna stitch on the zipper using my trusty sewing machine, FFD, and yeah, hope for the best. Alright, so I've quickly whipped up some straps and I've measured them against my sister, but not using the dress. She still hasn't seen anything, so I'm doing really, really well. So I've whipped up some straps using the adhesive iron-on tape that I love, and I'm also going to hem the bottom using this as well. And all I've got to do next is sew the straps on and then make the wings. So we're almost done. Okay, so it's really late at night, so I'm going to try and be quiet so I don't wake my family, but I just have the wings to go. So what I've done is I've tried to figure out what to do with a wing prototype, and a wing prototype actually turned out really well. So what I've done is I've gotten some silk, I've got some crystal organza in red. I made a wrist cuff, an arm cuff, and just a place for me to sew onto the dress itself. So all I've done is I've taken a measurement of my sister's wrist and a measurement of my sister's arm, and then I've gotten this like, I'd say thinnish kind of gold wire, and just cut like a huge amount off it. That should be enough. Boom. And then I've just wrapped it round like a ton of times until it kind of looks, I guess, fashionable. I just keep wrapping it so that it's a bit sturdy, but also like kind of pretty. What I've done is I've measured this length to this length, being my sister's like shoulder to like arm, and then I just put these cuffs on where I think her arm and her wrist are gonna be. I hope so, at least. So this is what I'm dealing with. This I kind of just freehand cut, but now I'm gonna use this as a stencil. So what I wanted was like a bit of a wing shape to it, so it's just like a... Alright, all I'm gonna do is measure against this, how long my sister's arm is. So we're going from the edge of the fabric to here. I'll leave a bit of grace there, and then I'm just going to cut with some scissors to mark where. Alright, cool. Now I'm just gonna fold this in half and then cut all the way down the bottom. So the first wing I free-handed, but now that I have one wing, I'm obviously going to try and make it exactly the same. So I'm going to leave some room so that I can make the feathers and I'm just gonna cut around the U shape. Now that I have my wing cut out and in a shape that I like it and in a formation that I like it, I'm just going to stitch on the armband. So what I've done is I folded it in half and I just stuck a needle there for pin there for reference, just to make sure that I know where I'm going. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to loop this around a few times. Okay, so I've pinned the wings to closest to the zipper just because I feel as though that's the most accurate spot to put them. I can't really explain why I feel as though they should go there. I just feel as though they do. So once again, all I'm going to do is hand stitch it to it. This process I can't really do without like showing some of the stitching, which that's okay. There's no other way for me to put it on there, so like. Okay, so this is the first time that Ellen is going to have seen the dress. Same with Mum, and I'm going to put it on her, and at the moment she has a blindfold on.
Can't see a thing.
Okay, try to leg up.
Okay.
Leg up. Oh, okay. Well, I just got a kneecap to the eye. Alright, you ready, traffic?
Yeah.
Okay, there's gonna be a mirror just in front of you, yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
Don't break it.
Don't. That's a lot of bad luck. Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. That's really loud.
That's freaking awesome! I'm a phoenix!
You are a phoenix.
I feel beautiful. I feel like a phoenix.
Okay.
You're the best sister.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
Okay then. Well, she likes the dress, and that's the most important part. So let's put up some footage of the birthday party.